In a region that's seen a surge of coronavirus cases, Texas was one of the first states to reopen. I'm Alexa Liaco in Austin.
Good to see you. Good,
How are you, sir?
You gonna eat here today?
People come here for the legendary tacos.
How many in your group? Three, okay.
But they come back
for probably 25 years.
Probably been coming here for 33 years.
For the man who can only be described as, well, the sign says it best. This wasn't what Juan Mesa and his wife had planned when they started their careers as teachers.
I wasn't even married yet, no kids, and I couldn't make ends meet. We'd teach all day and evenings and I was washing dishes and my wife was waitressing. And, I really, with time, I really got to enjoy the hustle and the bustle. All these food that we serve here, we ate it growing up.
A few years in, they borrowed money to start their own restaurant. 40 years later, Juan has been there to welcome nearly every customer personally.
He did win Best Handshake of Austin.
And he now works side by side with his two children.
I get to see him every day, so makes it extra special.
I was born and raised here in the restaurant. My parents, when they couldn't afford daycare, they actually had me here taking care of me. They had the bassinet behind the cash register.
Every hurdle this family overcame together.
How are you?
You haven't ordered yet? It's a real hard business to be in. Today's sales pay for yesterday's receipts.
But then COVID hit.
We were forced to close our doors, which is never, in our 41-year history, has never happened.
As their business struggled, Juan almost lost his life to COVID-19.
I ended up in ICU for 4 days.
There was a point where I thought maybe he wasn't going to make it. And what's going to happen to the legacy of this restaurant? How are we going to manage it? How are we going to go forward with it?
Thankfully, Juan got back on his feet, but his days in the hospital convinced him to keep his signature handshake alive in a new way.
It's time for here to go.
And to open his doors with social distancing and masks.
I'm glad we're doing that. I'm glad City of Austin is doing it. And people should wear masks.
Austin is one of few Texas cities with COVID restrictions. Texas's governor has removed statewide mask mandates.
Personal vigilance to follow the safe standards is still needed to contain COVID. It's just that now state mandates are no longer needed.
Well, the governor's going to do what the governor would like to do. We love him. He's a customer as well of ours. We also understand that he's got to make some of these choices.
And while not all of the family's customers agree with the restrictions, they'll follow the rules for some good food from a family fighting yet again to survive.
We're all going to get over this together. So hopefully we're going to come out of this stronger.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liaco.
I'm Dan Grossman in Greeley, Colorado, with a story of newfound freedom after months of isolation.
It's a big family, and that's how we look at it.
There is still lively chirping.
She's a spitfire. She really is.
I probably wouldn't say that, but Ben's shaking his head yes.
Even in an environment where one might feel confined.
Him and I got along just fine from the very beginning. He still hasn't got me a koala yet, but we're working on that.
She's always asking for that darn koala. So one day.
For Ben Gonzalez and Sharon Peterson.
Yeah, I want a koala.
It is a virtue they share as it has gotten them through the toughest months of this pandemic.
Those are the hard days. Those were the days that you just wanted to scream at the top of your lungs that it's not fair.
By now we know the troubles nursing homes endured last year. Cases skyrocketed, deaths were high. And in nursing homes like this, administrators like Ben had a tough time instilling rules they knew would only isolate their residents more.
The depression continued, it did.
Seeing the look in their eyes was hard. It was hard. It was heartbreaking.
But the vaccine came in December, and with it, relief. Between December 20th and February 14th, COVID cases among nursing home staff fell 83%, from 28,802 to 4,746. And new COVID infections among residents fell even more, by 89% compared to 58% in the general public.
It helped the morale, it helped the depression, it helped the anxiety, and it did make it more comfortable for me. Yeah.
A board that had become more accustomed to an eraser than a marker started to fill up again.
So I kind of adopt everybody, they adopt me, so I become other people's family.
And these moments,
I can see it now in my mind.
Yeah. These laughs that had been stolen from these halls have since returned as visitors have returned as well.
I like somebody to come up and give me a hug. I like to give somebody a hug. When they're having a bad day, tell them, and have them come over and give them a hug. I like those days.
It's hard to say when, if true normal will return here.
Seeing that number decline just has taken some load off and be able to kind of take a breath here and there to continue on.
It's going to be an adventure. We'll see how many times I fall.
But this small taste evokes an excitement and anticipation that cannot be confined.
I'll be looking forward to being able to get out and run around and run around. Well, anyway, in my chair.
I'm Dan Grossman.
More to come on the race. Stick with us.